Okay, we welcome everybody, and we are going to go straight into the Gemara. 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Chaf Hei Amud Beis. 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Chaf Hei Amud Beis. Avud Rav Zera, the father of Rav Zera, Ovid Gavyusa Tleiser Shnin. The father of Rav Zera, he was a tax collector. Now, the idea of the Gemara over here is to show that tax collectors could be righteous. He collected taxes for 13 years. Kavi Asa Reish Nara Lamasa, when the superintendent, he was called the head of the river, in other words, the entire region, he was a Gayish superintendent, came to the city. Kavi Chazi Rabbanan, when he saw the rabbis, he knew they could be trusted. He would tell them, Amalu Leich Ami Bal Bachararecha. Go, my people, and hide in your chambers. In other words, make yourself scarce, that he shouldn't see you. When he would see regular townspeople there, he would be more circumspect. Amar Reish Nara Asa Lamasa, the head of the region, has come. Va'idna Nochis Abba Lafum, and today a father is slaughtered in front of his son, Uvra Lafum Abba, and his son is slaughtered in front of his father. In other words, he didn't want to say anything directly related, but he gave them a hint that they should make themselves scarce. Omignasu Gule Alma. So everybody hid. Ki Asi, when the head of the area, the superintendent, came, Amalei, he said, could I have a huge amount? So Rav Zera's father said, Mimande boy, look how few people there is here. Who should I ask from? So he got the total tax of the district down for the people. Now, to show how honest he was, Kinicha Nafsha, when he was on his deathbed, Amalahu, he said, Shkolu Tleiser Moi Ditzayerli, take the 13 ma that I have in a handkerchief, Bisidinai, in my turban, Vahadru Leila, and return it to so-and-so. Why? Because the Shakli Semine, I took it from him, but the superintendent already came and collected the taxes, and I didn't need it. And I didn't need it, so please return it to him. It's not necessary. Reb Shimon. Initially, they would call those that were disqualified from Eidos, those that hoarded in the house, those that collected the Shvias. Micah Amar, what was he saying? Amar Reb Yehuda, B'tchila ha'ya'imrim, oisvei Shvias ksherin. Originally, they said that people that gathered Shvias in the house, they're kosher. Seicherin psulin. But those that marketed it were pasul. Because that we know is pasul. It says, the Torah says, La'akla v'layla schayra. You could only eat peiros of shvias. You can't do commerce. However, what happened is they found that people gave aniyim money, and aniyim gathered the peiros shvias for them. So that's tantamount to doing business with shvias. However, when people gave money to the poor, and aniyim went and gathered it and gave it to them, so that's tantamount to doing business. Not only those that do outright business, but also those that gather are also pasul. However, that's not the way we learned the Mishnah when we learned the Mishnah. As the Gemara says, Kashu ba b'nei Rechava, the b'nei Rechava, it didn't work for them, this explanation. It didn't work for them, this explanation, because Hai Mishirabu ha'anosim, it shouldn't say that Mishirabu ha'anosim, when the tax collectors increased. It has nothing to do with the tax collectors. When the merchants increased and they started doing this kind of deal with them, that they were given money and they traded with the Paris of Shvius. Initially they said, whether you hoard Paris of Shvius in the house, whether you do commerce, you're puzzled. However, Mishirabu Anosim, once there were too many tax collectors, and therefore they were collecting the Arnuna, and people would be jailed, and therefore, and in those days, jail could be a loss of life, so they permitted people to keep a lot of Paris Shvius in the house in order to pay the tax. Umay Ninu Arnuna, the royal tax of the produce, Kidemachriz Rabbi Yanai, like Rabbi Yanai declared, Puku Viziru B'Shvius, you could go out and plant on Shemitah, even plant on Shemitah, Mishum Arnuna, in order to be protected from the tax. Chazru Leimer Oisvin Ksherin, those that kept a lot of produce in the house for the tax is kosher. Seicherin, those that do business, they're psul and they're basel le'edus. Okay, welcome everybody. We're sorry we got to such a late start tonight. My granddaughter is in the hospital in Philadelphia. We went to visit her. I had initially made plans to maybe say the shir by Mark Frankel's house and then say it on time, but Mark had to leave to New York, and that plan was scuttled. And then on top of that, I open up my computer, and for some reason, there's no internet here in the house, which absolutely makes no sense. Absolutely makes no sense.
Working again, the internet?
Huh?
You got the internet working?
Where?
I'm in the house, you got it working?
No, it's working on the phone, but not on my computer.
Maybe the router.
You don't have Wi-Fi?
I think there is Wi-Fi, because the phone shows Wi-Fi. It's just the computer's not picking it
I
up.
have Wi-Fi.
On what?
Your house, on my tablet.
From my house.
Yeah.
So why isn't it showing up on my computer?
I assume you check the settings to make sure that it's on, right? Because sometimes it just shuts off and you have to turn it back on again.
I rebooted.
No, sometimes the settings are not to, and you just have to,
You go into the little icon settings, yeah.
and you click it on, and then it connects.
Oh yeah?
For no reason it does that sometimes.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that. You want to come here and see if you could do that? That would be good. I'd like to be able to see everybody. I don't understand why that should be. Just Stamazai? Just it gets a mood?
Is Wi-Fi showing up on your phone?
Yeah.
If Andy Alfie's telling you to call, maybe he could figure out everybody.
Is the Wi-Fi on at the computer? That's the real question.
That's the Wi-Fi right over here.
Which one, this one?
No, the globe. The globe.
Oh, the globe.
It says no connections are available. Doesn't make sense. So you said to go to settings?
Is there a place where you can search? Like you click on search for,
Everybody's giving advice.
Okay.
Andy Alfie's is across the street, you might figure out.
You said you could go to settings?
Do you know where settings are here?
Okay, as while he's playing around, says the Gemara, now this is a real wild story. Real wild story. Rab Chia bar Zarnoki, Reb Shim ben Yoit Tzaddik. Now these were very big tzaddikim. Huh? No. Reb Chia bar Zarnoki, Reb Shim ben Yoit Tzaddik, Reb Chia bar Zarnoki and Reb Shim ben Yoit Tzaddik have kozlei la'aber shana ba'asya. They were going to intercalate the year in Asya. Now, the Taisva speculates, how could they intercalate and make a leap year in Asya? We said it could only be done in Eretz Yisrael. So it seems to be that it was a time of persecution, and they were only able to deliberate the intercalation outside of Eretz Yisrael. So Pagabu Reish Lakish met them, Itapel Badayu, and he traveled with them. Omar, and he said, Ezel Ilzei Hechi of the Uvda. Let me go and see their procedures. As he was traveling, Chaz Yalu Gavra de Kokoriv. It was a Shemitah year, and he saw a man that was plowing. Amar Lahen, he said to them, Kayin v'chayrish. Now we'll see, the reason why I called him a Kayin is because the Kohanim were suspected of not being careful in the Shemitah. The Kohanim that had special privileges with Truma, they therefore sometimes took special privileges with Shemitah too. So he said, Kayin v'chayrish. He's a Kayin and he's plowing, and therefore, the Reish Lakish, therefore, he wanted the two sages, the two Talmidei Chachamim, to be Meichiachim. Amru Lai, so they said to Reish Lakish, Yachal Leimer, Agistan Ani B'Seichai. He could say that I'm just an agent in a Goyish field. In other words, maybe it was a Goyish field, and he was working in a Goyish field, which is allowed to be done. Suchaz Yalu Gavra Dava Kosach Bekarme. He was pruning in a vineyard. Again, it was a Shemitah year. Amalahen Kayin v'Zaymer, a Kayin and pruning. Again, you should rebuke him. Amrullah Yachal Leimer leEkel Beis Abad Ani Tzarech. I'm not pruning for the growth of the tree or the vine, which would be forbidden. I'm cutting the twigs, the vines, only for the netting of the olive press, which that's allowed. Amalahem, so he didn't like the way he felt that their suggestions were very far-fetched. So Amalahem, he said to them, Halev Yoideya imla ekel imla akal kolois. The heart knows if it was for netting or for sin. Akal kolois means for wrong behavior. So the question is, hey Amalu Bereisha, which one did they tell him first? Ilay mahokamaisa Amalu Bereisha, that he was maybe an agent for a guy. In the case of the pruning the vineyard, also he could have been an agent for a guy. It was the first case where he said maybe he was pruning for the netting of the Beis Abad. And then he said that maybe in the next case he said maybe he's an agent for a guy. Ask the Gemara, Maishna Koyen. Why did he address the person as a Kohen? I mean, what's happens that the Kohen won't be careful with, what's that all about, Kohen? I keep on trying my computer because I can't believe what's going on over here.
Is it wired or wireless connection?
Wireless.
I don't know. Try going into the settings.
There are keyboard buttons to turn on and off the Wi-Fi too.
But if it said there's no Wi-Fi connections, that means it's searching for it.
Or it's not turned on.
Well, if it's not turned on, why would it say there's no connection? Didn't say there's no. It sounds like it's on, but there's no Wi-Fi signals around.
If you call the outfit from across the street, he might be able to figure it out.
If he's got it on the phone and Gedalia's got it on his tablet, there's obviously a
get to see
signal
right
there.
there.
Obviously,
That takes you in, and you can put in Wi-Fi, and it'll take your Wi-Fi.
Here's Wi-Fi, right here is the Wi-Fi.
But it'll see if it's on. It'll let you know if it's on or not.
What?
Just put in Wi-Fi. Find a setting. Just put in Just put Wi-Fi, and then it'll tell you.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah. It says. Here, this, where was, there it is, okay. And look, it's off. No, I guess it's on, okay.
We couldn't find wireless devices on this PC.
Okay.
You You want me to call Eli Yaffe to come in?
I don't think he'll be able to help.
Yeah, he might. He's very handy in that.
Well, you could try to call him.
I'll call him, maybe.
But that's how usually that's where you go into that setting, and you can turn it on or off there. It may be that with the guy that worked today, turned it off or accidentally.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
And that's why you would turn it on off, where you were just gonna.
Okay, what?
You're using the Wi-Fi
Yeah,
from here?
yeah.
Yeah, it's really crazy, right? Okay.
Router red.
That's what I just said.
Anyway, so says the Gemara now. Ma'ishno koyin. What did he say? Tell the koyin. Mishum dechashide ashvius. The reason is because a koyin is suspected on Shemitah. Ditnan saw truma shenafel l'mei son shel shvius. A saw of truma that falls into 100 saw of shvius, it's batul b'meya. Tala. Pachas mikan, less than that, so you can't be mevatel the truma. Yirkavu, you have to let the whole thing to rot. So the question is, why let the whole thing to rot? Sell it to a kohen, except, it says the Gemara, Avina ba'amai yirkavu, yibkarenu l'kohen, sell it to the kohen, except for the saw of truma, which you'll give to the kohen, b'dmei truma, chutz midmei oisa saw, except for that saw. The reason why you're not going to give him truma is because the reason why you're not going to give him shmita is because they're chayshit to keep the shmita even after the zman beer. The din is that when the produce is not available by the animals in the field anymore, you're not allowed to keep it in the house. And they're suspected to keep it in the house. Amro. So the two Rabbanim who felt that Reb Chia bar Zarnoki and Reb Shimon Yitzadek, who felt that Reish Lakish was being too harsh, they said to each other, Teruda Hudain, this person is a troublesome person. And therefore they didn't want him to have him in the deliberations of intercalating the year, because he might make trouble. So Kimatul Asim, when they arrived in Asya, Sliku le'igra, they went up to the attic and Shlufu le'darga metusei, and they removed the ladder so that Reish Lakish couldn't get up.
He wasn't invited. How did he think
He wanted to watch. Remember, we had with Shmuel HaKatan, he was going to watch. So also the Kamad Reb Yochanan. So Reish Lakish went to complain to Rabbi Yochanan. Also, the Kamad Rabbi Yochanan, Amalei b'nei Adam achashudin al hashvius, people who are suspect on Shemitah because he didn't like that they didn't rebuke, and whoever doesn't rebuke is nitfas aloisa oven. So b'nei Adam achashudin al hashvius ksherin la'aber shana, they're kosher to intercalate the year. Hadar Amar, then he says, well, come to think of it, like casually. We had a case where 3 shepherds said that the weather that we're experiencing is more like Shvat weather and not other weather. And the rabbis didn't really rely on them, they relied on their calculations. But the Hadar Amar loy dami. Hasam Hadar Imnu Rabbanan Va'ibru Lahu Shata. There, a separate 5 Rabbanim voted and decided. Hacha, but here, their part of the vote, it's a Kesher Rishayimhu. It's a wicked club. The Kesher Rishayim ain't a minyan, and you can't count a wicked club in the vote. Amar Reb Yochanan Da'aka, to say about these great people, to say about Reb Chia, about Zarnoki and Reb Shimon Yitzadek, that they're a Kesher Risham, he didn't like it. Ki also the Kamei Reb Yochanan, when they came before Reb Yochanan, they heard that he was referred to, that they were referred to as Rei Bakr. I don't think they heard that they were referred to as Kesher Risham.
How did they hear that they were
Huh?
referred to as Roy and Bucker?
What?
How did they hear that they were referred to as Roy and Bucker? Somebody spoke for Keyless?
Maybe he told them. Oh,
Isn't that
here comes rebellion.
Isn't that Keyless?
It would be. It would be. It would be. It would be. We can't figure out what to get back into my internet on my computer. I don't know why. Could take a chair. So anyway, so ki also coming to Rabbi Yochanan, when they came before Rabbi Yochanan, that's Reb Chia and Reb Shimon, Amru Lei, they said to Rabbi Yochanan, Kori Lon Roi Bakar, they called us shepherds, cattle shepherds, V'lo Amalei Mar V'lo Midei, and the master didn't say anything? Amalahu, so he said to them, V'ikar l'chu roa itzon, even if they would call you sheep herders. Now, if you remember, we said that sheep herders are worse than cattle herders. Sheep herders are no good even if they raise the sheep. Cattle herders is only no good if they graze. But even if they would call you sheep herders, my aminolek, what would I have said? It is the way, as we said, it was the way in Bavel that they spoke strongly one to the other. So this is something that they do, that they speak strongly one to another. We said that's the difference between Bavel and Eretz Yisrael. But what does it mean, a Kesher Rishon? My Kesher Rishon. What does it mean, a knot of wicked people? What does it mean, a group of wicked people? So the next Gemara is really a tragic story. Really a tragic story. Shevna have a dorish betleisa rabavasa. Shevna, there were two yeshivas, Shevna's yeshiva and Chizkiah's yeshiva. Shevna have a dorish betleisa rabavasa. Shevna would teach to 130,000 Talmidim. That's 13 myriads. 130,000 Talmidim. Chizkiah have a dorish b'chad sara b'vasa. Chizkiah taught 110,000 students. Marshall would have got a lot of bourbon, right? A lot of bourbon. Kiyasa Sancherev, when Sancherev arrived, Vitzara Allah to Yerushalayim, and set siege to Yerushalayim, he came with 185,000 people. Kosav Shevna Piska, Shevna wrote a message on a tablet, and Shoda Begira, and shot it over the walls, saying that Shevna v'siyata yishlimu. Shevna and his colleagues, all 130,000, are ready to make peace. But Chizkiah v'siyata lo yishlimu. But Chizkiah and his associates are not ready to make peace. Shenemar, kihine harishoim yirdruchon keshes, the wicked, they aim their bow, kanano chitzam al yetzer, they get the arrow ready on the string of the bow to shoot it. Have a komistafe Chizkiah. Now Chizkiah was worried, maybe he's not the majority, and therefore he should follow the majority. We know Achrei Rabban Lahatas, Shevna is 130,000, I'm only 110,000, so maybe I should follow the majority. We should go and offer peace with Sancherev. Kavan the ruble mimsere inu nam mimsere. Since the majority wants to raise the right flag, maybe we should also raise the white flag. But Navi v'amalei, the Navi came and said, Lo yisaimrun. You should not say kesher l'kol asher yomer ha'am hazeh kesher. Don't say that there is a group to whichever this group wants to say. Don't attach it the honor of being a group that should be listened to. Kalaimer kesher rishoymu, because it's a group of wicked people. The kesher rishoyim ain't in a minyan. You don't count them as part of the minyan. Now, Shevna, he thought that he would be king after Chizkiah. And therefore he dug himself a grave amongst the royal graves. You figured it out?
Looks like it looks like it's what's it called airplane mode is on. I don't know how to reset it. Internet connection.
That's because this year is really flying.
I am going fast?
Well, covering a lot of ground though.
I understand everything.
Airplane mode.
That's what he's saying.
Actually, you understand?
Okay, so now says the Gemara, Halach lachtzov like kever bekivrei beis David. Shevna went to set himself up a grave amongst the royal graves. But Navi v'amalei, the Navi told him, you're being very presumptuous. Malachapai, what are you doing here? Omilachapo, and who are you to be here? Ki chatzafta l'chapai kever, that you're digging for yourself a grave. You don't belong in the royal cemetery. Hine Hashem mitaltelcha taltela gover. Hashem will cause you.
It's just wireless. You're using wireless.
Yeah.
I know why this doesn't show wireless.
I restarted it also.
Yeah, you did this.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
It's really crazy.
It's all Master's fault.
I take full responsibility for nothing.
Hine Hashem mitaltelecha taltela gover. Hashem will cause you to be exiled like the exile of a man. Amarav tiltula de gavra koshi midi itza. The exile of a man is worse than the exile of a woman, because a woman people have rachmanas. V'oitcha ata, and you will be wrapped with a wrapping. Now, what does that mean? You will be wrapped with a wrapping. Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina Malamit sheparcha b'tzaras. Bo Shevna really got beat up. He got stricken with tzaras because the word ata is used by leprosy. Ksiv acha v'otcha ata. He'll be wrapped around. Uksiv asam al sofa miyate. That the Mitzayra has to cover his upper lip, because the Mitzayra was Mitzira, and therefore we say that his words are not worth listening to, and he should cover his lips. So it uses the word ata by leprosy. Sanayf yitznefcha sanayf yitznefcha tznefa, you will be wrapped around like a hat wraps a person around the head. Kadur al eretz rakavas yodayim. You will be like a wall surrounds open land. What does this mean? Tana, who bikesh kloin beis adonov, he sought to bring shame to Chizkiah. Lefikach nepach kvoidai leklalain. Therefore, his honor was changed to shame. We'll see Shevna really got messed up. Shevna went to make peace with his 110,000 followers, with his 130,000 followers. So ki avinofik iu, when he went out of the city to go to Sanhedrin, also Gabriel achte ledosha ba'ape mashriasa. He went out, and Gabriel slammed the doors of the city shut. So his 130,000 followers could not follow him. And Amrulay, he didn't realize, and he walked, and he was already in the camp of Sanhedrin. So they said to him, "Mar shir yosech heicha, where are your followers?" Amar Hodrubi. He said they backed out. They turned back. Amrulay, so they said, so then you're just mocking us. Im kein achucheika mechaychasban, you're just mocking us. Nikvu ba'akavav, they perforated the soles of his feet, uslou bezanvei susehem, and attached him to the tails of the horses, and they dragged him quickly ala koitzim vala barkonim, on the thorns and the thistles. Amar Abelazar, Shevna bal hanoav. How did this happen? Shevna was a Talmud Chacham. How did this happen to him? What are you looking for?
It's that cable.
No, there's no Ethernet cable.
Yeah, I know, it's wireless. It's wireless. Wireless.
And the wireless is working because everybody is using it.
Yeah, this is what I'm... Ethernet.
So the Gemara tells us now a scary thing. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Shevna bal hanohaya. Shevna, he was a pleasure-seeking individual. Ksiv hacha leich ba el asoichen hazeh. And it says about Shevna, go to that soichen. And it says by David HaMelech, by Avishag, the ksiv asim vatihiloi soichenes, that Avishag warmed David's body. So you see that soichen means that he sought physical pleasure. And the physical pleasure, some say it was serious, it was sodomy. He wanted sodomy. But, yeah, some say that. Ki hashosais yerson, the shosais, this is a mysterious word, was torn down. Tzadik mapal. What did the righteous accomplish? So we're going to have three pshatim in this pasuk. Rabbi Yehuda v'Ravena. It's machlokes Rabbi Yehuda v'Ravena. Chad amar ilu Cheskiyah v'siyatoi nerosim. If Chizkiah and his 110,000 Talmidim would have been torn down, Tzadik Mapol, what would Hashem have accomplished? But Baruch Hashem came to their rescue. V'chad amar ilu Beis Hamikdash yeras. If the Beis Hamikdash would be destroyed, Tzadik Mapol, what would Hashem have accomplished? V'ula amar ilu machshavoisav shel oisei rasha. If the thoughts of this wicked person, Shevna, Einon Nerasais, would not have been torn down, Tzadik Mapal, what would Hashem have accomplished? So now the Gemara explains all the different pshatim. If the thoughts and the designs of Shevna wouldn't have been turned down, that's why it says that the shasas are turned down, because shasas could mean plotting and designs. Because the Beis Hamikdash has the Evan Shasiya, the stone from where the world started to be created. Did not Evan Hoysasham, Miyamais Nevi'im Arishainim, from the days of the early prophets, or Shasiya Hoysa Nikris, it was called Shasiya. So that's why it says, if the Shasais, if the Beis Hamikdash would have been destroyed. Where do we find that Rabbanan are called Shasais? Heichi Ashkechan Tzadikei Dikrei Shasais. That's the Siv Kila Hashem Mitzukei Aretz. To Hashem is the pillars of the land. V'yoshes Aleim Tevel. And Hashem founded upon them the earth. So the tzaddikim are called that way because they're the pillars of the earth. What are you looking for?
It should be light. Your what's it called? Connected, wireless connected. You see it.
It's really very strange. It was working last night.
Rabbi, how old is the laptop?
It's old, but it's souped up.
But 9414?
9415. V'iba yesema mehacha, hifli etza, they have wondrous counsel, higdil sushia, they have wisdom. So therefore, Shasais is referring to the wise ones. Now, Amar Rav Chanan Lama Nikra Shma Tushia. Why is the Torah called Tushia? Mipnei shi mateshes kaychay shaladam. The Torah weakens a person's kaya. Davar acher. Tushia, this is very interesting. It's called Tushia shenitna b'chashay. The Torah initially was given privately. Why? Mibnei Satan. The Satan didn't want the Torah to be given. The Satan said that the Torah should stay with the Malachim, and that the Luchas shouldn't be given to Moshe Rabbeinu. Dovaracha, Tushia, Dvorim Shel Toyu. They're but words. The Torah is but words. Sha'olam Meshusas Aleim. And yet the world, it rests upon them. Bereshis, B'tfil Shvil Torah, Shenikra Bereshis. Amar Ula, Machsheves Mo'eles Afilu L'divrei Torah. When a person has worries about Parnasa, it interferes even with Torah. You would think that Torah would be stronger, but if a person has worry about Parnasa, it interferes even with his Torah. Shenemar Mayfair Machshavais Arumim. Hashem annuls the thoughts of the clever. V'lo se'asena yedayim tushia, in order that it shouldn't make their hands weak. But if they have thoughts of worry, it would make their hands weak and not able to learn. Amar Rabbah, but Rabbah says you should know that if a person learns Torah Lishma, that's not the case. Amar Rabbah, im asukim Torah Lishma, if they learn Torah Lishma, eina moyelas, then it won't affect them. Shenamar Rabbis machshavos belev ish, much is the thoughts in the heart of man, but v'atzas Hashem hisakim. If a person has atzas Hashem, he's doing it l'shem shemayim, l'shem Hashem, eitza sheyesh bo dvar Hashem. If he does it l'shma, to be mekayim the mitzvah v'dibarta bam la'asos nachas ruach liyatzreinu, he tokum la'olam. It will be upheld forever, and it's a very interesting thing that if a person learns Torah l'shma, then then interfering thoughts and worries won't be able to distract him from learning Torah. This is a very big yesod. Very frustrating, no? Rebellion.
Yeah.
Very frustrating. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to need it. I have to upload the shiurim.
You know, you can't get on the internet.
Now, says the Gemara Vaita, as we start the first wide line, I can't see anybody. I hope we have a lot of people here.
30.
Oh, we have 30 people?
30 people on Zoom.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I don't feel so bad. It's 30 people, good.
Even I'm on Zoom, Rabbi Weiss.
Oh, wow, look how handsome he looks, wow. You look a lot,
Make your phone into a hotspot, Rabbi, if you want.
what?
Rabbi, you can make your phone into a hotspot and use that to internet on the computer.
So the phone's not the problem.
The phone is not the problem, the internet seems to be like locked into airplane mode.
No,
Computer. No, Rabbi, you can make your phone
I removed
into a
it,
hotspot.
I know, but what's going on over here, you know?
looks like wireless is not working.
Wireless is not working.
Yeah, looks like it, because it goes, for example, it goes internet.
Down box in the garage.
It goes wireless.
Anything in the garage, a box that's disconnected. maybe?
Right here. Airplane mode is on. Now,
Okay, let's go back to Amar Rabbi Yehuda,
off.
a Masai. Amar Rabbi Yavo, Amar Rabbi Lazar, halacha ke Rabbi Yehuda. The law is like Rabbi Yehuda. In other words, the law is like Rabbi Yehuda, that the only time that Barry and Marshall is disqualified from testifying is only if the only thing that they do is raise pigeons or gamble with dice. But if they're also an electrician, they're also run a car shop, then they're kosher. Amar Rabbi Yavo, Amar Rabbi Lazar, kulan sricha hachraza bebezdin. All of these disqualified people are only disqualified if there was a declaration in Bezdin. Bezdin says they're gamblers, they do business with Shemitah, and they're disqualified. Roya, pliga baravach v'ravina. Roya, a shepherd, it's machlokes Ravach and Ravina. Chad amar boy achraza. They need to be proclaimed. Until they're proclaimed, they're kosher leidus. V'chad amar loy boy achraza. So the Gemara says, Bishloim elamandi amar loy boy achraza, that they don't need achraza. Hainu damar Rabbi Yehuda amar Rav stam roya apostle. A regular shepherd is apostle. Elamandi amar boy achraza, that they need a declaration. My stam roya apostle. So the Gemara says, simple. It means that you don't have to determine that they graze in other people's lands. You don't have to determine that they graze in other people's lands. You could proclaim about them without an investigation, but you have to make the proclamation. Ha'imatana, there was a gift. There was a gift. What happened is Marshall gave Barry a gift. And two gazlonim, Eddie and Berish. They signed the star of the matana. Savar Rapapa Bar Shmuel la'achshure. Rapapa Bar Shmuel figured to say that the deed is good because Eddie and Berish weren't announced in Bezdin. But Amalei Rava says the only thing you need an announcement is rabbinical problems, like gamblers, like people that do commerce in Shvius. But Begazan Daraisa, Eddie and Berish are regular thieves. Mibayin and Achraza, that doesn't need a declaration, and since that doesn't need a declaration, the gift document is invalid. Now, Amar Rav Nachman, Oichle davar achar psulin le'edus. Now, that sounds like somebody that eats pig. Now, of course somebody eats pig. Davar achar usually means pig. So, Oichle davar achar psulin le'edus sounds like pig, but that's not what it means over here. That's not what it means. It's talking about a much smaller infraction. What happened over here is that this person was a poor man, and he took charity from idolaters. And it's considered like eating a davar achar, because just like the pig sticks out his split hoof and it says, "Look at me, I'm kosher." The guy, you want to go upstairs with it?
Yeah, I want to take it home.
Take it home?
I'll see.
Thank you. Thank you. I really,
I'll call my son, he's.
really appreciate it. I have Team Reach if he wants to come on. I have Team Reach on the computer if he wants to come on the computer. You know what Team Reach is?
No,
Well, tell your son I have Team Reach.
Team Reach.
That means that he could share the.
Oh, he knows this.
Yeah.
He would know, he will tell me what to do. He knows.
Thank you, Rebellia. So anyway, what happened over here was a poor person accepted money from an idolater. And this is considered a chil Hashem, because it looks like the Jews don't take care of their poor. So such a person, says the Gemara, is posel edus. So the Gemara says, but hani mili b'farhesia. That's only if he did it in public. Aval b'tzin aloi. But if he took it from him privately, so there's no chil Hashem, then it's okay. Ub'farhesia nami lo yamran, and even publicly it's only a problem. Ela de'evshalei litzunei b'sinam. He could have done it privately. V'kamavaze nafshi b'farhesia, and he caused the shame and the chil Hashem in public. Aval lo yevshalei. But if it wasn't possible, look, he has to make a living. He has to feed his family. Chiyusehi, it's his livelihood, and we won't disqualify him from edus. Amar Rav Nachman, hechoshed ala arayis kashel edus. Somebody is suspected of immorality, he's kashel edus. The idea being that we only disqualify a person from edus when he shows that he's willing to be dishonest. Al toshes Rasha lios aid chamus, witness of corruption. Amar Rav Sheshes was surprised. Ani Murray, answer me, my master. Arbom bekaspe. He deserves to be flogged on his shoulder, because even if a person is repeatedly immoral, Bezdin could flog him. The kosher, and you say is kosher le'edus. Amar Rava says, and even Rav Nachman, who says that since it's not a monetary matter, he's not disqualified from testimony, but l'inyan edus isha shu puzzle. But when it comes to matters of sexuality, he's puzzled. Since he's suspected, he's puzzled in matters of sexuality. However, Amar Ravina v'yisem rapapale Amar la fuka. That's only to say that a woman is permitted. Avaliyula, to say that she's married, which makes her unavailable, less unba. There's no reason not to trust him. So the Gemara says, Pshita, that's obvious. Says the Gemara, it's better for her to be married, because then she's stolen waters. Stolen waters are sweet. So it's better for her to be married because it'll be more sweet to him. It's better for him that she should be available and not to be married, and therefore he's believed to say that she's married. V'amar Rav Nachman, Ganav Nisim v'Ganav Tishrei lo yishmei Ganav. If a person takes during the harvest time of Nisan, or during the grape vintaging time of Tishrei, he's not called a Ganav. That means an Oris, a sharecropper, who takes. Now, really, a sharecropper is, even though a poyel is allowed to take at the end of the harvesting, while he's working, this doesn't apply to a sharecropper. But if the sharecropper does take, the owner forgives him. However, the Gemara qualifies this. Hani mili barisa, this is only a sharecropper. V'davar mu'at, a small amount. Or b'davar shenigmar malachta, and when it was at the end of the processing, which a poyel is usually allowed to take. Ikare de Rav Zvid, the workers of Rav Zvid, chad gonav kaba de sare, one stole a kav of barley, and even though it was a little amount, but since he wasn't a sharecropper, or pasla, he disqualified him from edus. V'chad gonav kibura de hine, he took a cluster of dates, or pasla, again, because he wasn't a sharecropper. Hano kavura the cover nafshe b'yom tevishin shalatzeres. Well, we know that while we do a burial on the second day of Yom Tov, we never do a burial on the first day of Yom Tov. There were grave diggers that buried someone on the first day of Shavuos. Shamtinu Rapapa excommunicated them, upaslinu la'edus, and said that they can't give testimony because they were mechalel Yom Tov. V'achshirinu Rav Huna b'rei Rabbi Yeshua. Rav Huna b'rei Rabbi Yeshua said that they're allowed to give testimony. Amalei Rapapa v'harishayim ninu. How could you say they could give edus? They were mechalel Yom Tov. Savrei mitzvah kavdei. They thought that they were doing a mitzvah. And therefore, since they thought that they were doing a mitzvah, we don't disqualify them from testimony. But we excommunicated them and they did it again. So here the Gemara says an interesting thing. They thought that it's a mitzvah, but it needs a kapara. You know, this could be compared to the din that certain times you're allowed to fast on Shabbos, but you have to fast a fast that you fasted on Shabbos. So here they thought maybe that they were right in doing the burial, but they needed the kapara of the excommunication. And therefore, because they might have thought that they were doing the right thing, they're not disqualified from testimony. Okay, now